have always thought of ourselves as the Maruti Suzuki family. And like all families, there are times when the patriarch steps aside for the younger generation to take charge. But here, inheritance is not something that is handed down to you. It's something you must rise up to. We'll talk today about passing on the baton, a change of guard that every enterprise must face at some point or the other. Now, to find out how to prepare for it, we have with us a number of people, starting with Saniraj Agarwal of Autovista, that's in Mumbai. Welcome. Also with us is Priyank Mathur of Navneet Motors in Udaipur. Then from Maruti Suzuki India Limited, Ram Suresh Akela. Another representative of Maruti Suzuki over here is Anand Prakash. Next, we have with us Vishal Sani, who's from TR Sani, representing Delhi. And finally, to complete the panel, we have Kamaljeet Nagpal from Prem Motors, Jaipur. Welcome to you all. My name is Siddharth Basu. Our topic for this edition of Maruti Suzuki Amazing Stories is the next generation CEO. We'll start with Ram Suresh. What do you think are the challenges that the next generation of dealers face, and how are they to cope with it?
Well, times are changing, ways of doing business are changing, but more importantly, the young generation has their own different set of aspirations. On the other hand, is this first generation businessman who probably established the business from scratch, emotionally attached and quite possessive about his business. Now the challenge is basically to strike a fine balance, a kind of a smooth transition to ensure that there is continuity, sustainability and growth in this business.
So, find the right balance. Anand, what do you think are the advantages and disadvantages of joining the family business?
Undoubtedly, there are many advantages. I think when a second generation enters into a business, the basics are already in place. You, having been around when the business is growing, you learn the nitty-gritties of the business. And I think with the expertise and experience of your father and the aggression of this second generation, there's a lot of potential to grow exponentially.
Finding the right combo apart from the right balance, right? Sunny Raj, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I think I totally second what Anandji is saying because, all the basics are fundamentals are set up, so all you need to do is, fine tune a little bit and scale up exponentially. And what I think is, for that you need good people. It's a people's business and nothing better than your own family members who are loyal and committed to, achieving your objective.
I understand. Kamaljeet, how did you go about joining the family business? Tell us.
Well, in my case, I joined my dealership as a service advisor. I spent good 3 years on the ground. During these 3 years, from the position of a service advisor, I gradually moved up the ladder to the managerial level. So during this process, I got to learn all the nitty-gritties of the business.
What about you, Vishal? Is your story similar or a little different? How did you go about doing things?
During my engineering days when I was studying, after every semester break, my dad made sure that I come to the office and I do one of the business area as a summer project. By the time I was done with my engineering, I had worked in most of the departments as a trainee maybe, but with that, the biggest help was when I joined, I knew what Maruti is about, what my dealership is about, what my organization is about.
Anand, what do you think is the ideal route to succession?
I think I agree with what Kamal and Vishal just said. In fact, I feel straight from the college, if you are put on the CEO's chair, it will be very difficult for you to really get absorbed in the system. In fact, Maruti has a very, very great module where we take this second generation through all the aspects of business and groom them into a great CEO.
So it's a sort of mentoring program that Maruti Suzuki does.
Yes.
Okay, what about you, Priyank? What are the kind of challenges you faced after joining the family business?
Well, I faced challenges at various levels. As Anandbhai initially mentioned, people, for example, they always treat you as a kid because they've seen you growing as a kid. They're caring towards you. Processes. Our processes were more rudimentary and traditional and more based on personal experiences. That needed a little more restructuring. Similarly, customer expectations. They were rising and we had to align ourselves to meet those expectations.
Ram, do you find that this is common across dealerships across the country?
Absolutely. I think it's just the same across. In fact, very recently, Maruti has come up with a new app, which is called the Sales app, which actually gives complete information about the dealership on real time on their mobile. And I'm sure that this generation, which is much more tech savvy, will be able to leverage on these kind of tools to be more effective as a CEO going forward.
So technological inputs helping the succession and successful dealerships.
Absolutely.
Great. Thanks, Ram Suresh. Now, it's said that mistakes are the stepping stones to learning. Let's hear it from Kamaljeet. Did you make mistakes at work? And when you did, what happened? How did you deal with it?
Well, I was fortunate enough to have the freedom of speech and thought to the extent of making mistakes. My father was always there with me as a supporting function, wherein my decisions were never deprived of. They were always discussed, and we always arrived at a common conclusion.
Now, successes, even small, breed confidence and a sense of accomplishment. Although it might be little too early, but have you tasted success, Priyank?
In our scope of business, manpower plays a very important role. And some of the challenges that we faced when I joined the business were related to attrition. What I realized was that this needed some working on. So I worked with the team and also people who had left the business and worked on some KRA and appraisal systems and all those things in order to improve not only the customer, the employee satisfaction, but also it helped us analyzing who is a performer and who is a non-performer. That helped our attrition rate to go down, and we were able to retain more people.
And those are some of the changes that you brought about.
Yeah.
Thanks, Priyank. What about you, Vishal?
I tasted a bit of success in the beginning of my joining of the dealership. For our dealership, we usually had a very high vintage stock. We have a POS system. It was just not managed at our dealership. It was just on a gut feeling. I devised a system looking at the trend of inquiries coming at our dealership, looking at the bookings or the stock we had. We would forecast the models the way we want them. This bit of taste of success in the beginning gave me a confidence to take on higher challenges in the dealership.
I can already see beaming and confident CEOs over here of Gen Next. Maruti Suzuki has embarked on Mission 2020. How are these young CEOs gearing up for it? Let's hear it out from them. Let's begin with you, Kamaljeet.
So we at Prem Motors are thinking of doubling our volumes by 2020, and to be able to do that, we have to keep the 4 Ps in mind: people, processes, place, and paisa.
4 Ps.
4 Ps.
Interesting. Sunny Raj, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, in addition to doubling volumes, obviously at the dealer level, we would be also looking at infrastructure, which will play a very critical role, especially in a city like Bombay, where everything works on per square feet. So I think a new metric like sales per square feet is something that we could really start measuring. In the times to come, we're going to have multiple models, and it's going to be increasingly difficult to display all those models in the same showroom that you have existingly. So whatever internet usage and in technology usage we can have right now, I think will help us to prep up for the future.
I think it is important to look at 5 years ahead and not necessarily at the immediate future. I think we need to focus more on the robust issues such as internal audits or process checks or review mechanisms. That is the way ahead. That is the only way ahead.
Ram Suresh, what are your thoughts on this?
I think this young generation of CEOs will play a very pivotal role in the future growth of Maruti Suzuki. And they bring in the much needed energy and passion and dynamism to this business. So the drive that they bring in, coupled with the wisdom of their parents, I'm sure will help Maruti Suzuki achieve the Mission 2020, which is 20 lakh cars by the year 2020 or probably even earlier.
Hear, hear. Anand, you get to wrap this up.
Okay, I think we discussed about all the aspects of the next generation CEOs and what it takes to become a great one. And I'm sure parents of each one of the CEOs sitting here must be very, very proud seeing them becoming such a successful businessman and taking their business to a greater heights. In fact, we have a surprise for all 4 of you.
A surprise for our next-gen budding CEOs on the screen.
Priyank, my son, not only as a father but as a good buddy, I would like to advise you that not only our family but also our principals and our manpower, they all look at you as the person who's going to take them in the future, the person who's going to increase the business to many folds. So be faithful, be positive, and be committed.
You have turned my dreams into reality. Beta, zoom into future. Climb higher and higher. Be successful in your life. God bless you.
My dear beta, you have done a great job. आप बहुत बढ़िया कर रहे हैं. मैं जानता हूँ कि मैं टफ फादर हूँ, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी आप इंडिपेंडेंट बहुत बढ़िया कर रहे हैं.
हाय गोलू, आप मेरे से दूर रहते हो. मैं हमेशा आपको बहुत मिस करती हूँ. आपको बिजनेस में ग्रो करते हुए देखकर मुझे बहुत खुशी होती है. पापा के बिजनेस को और ग्रो करना. गॉड ब्लेस यू, लव यू, मिस यू.
Sunny beta, you have proven yourself in business and taken it to new heights. I'm really proud of you and your achievements in very short span. Take one more advice from me. Settle down in personal life. मेरा आशीर्वाद तुम्हारे साथ हमेशा है.
And the key takeaways on this session for next gen CEOs are: a next generation CEO needs to start by learning the business first, needs to maintain continuity while bringing in change. Learning from mistakes is critical. The role of professional management and technology are key issues.